Welcome friends. Today we'll be dealing with voice. Now first of all, let's understand what's voice. Voice is the form a verb takes to indicate whether the subject of the verb performs or receives the action. Now what does it mean? Verb which takes to indicate whether the subject of the verb performs or receives the action. Now, subjects perform the action. At present, I am performing the action and you people are receiving the action. That's so. If I say I am performing means I am doing some active thing, and you are being passive means you are the receiver of the action. So in this way, we can distinguish voice into two types, that is passive and active. Now let's understand each. In the active voice, basically, as we said, we are interested in knowing who is doing the action. We are interested in knowing the doer of the action. Now, Alex wrote the essay on Alzheimer's. Alex wrote the essay on Alzheimer's. Now, we are talking about the active voice. So we are interested in knowing who is the doer of the action. Here the doer of the action is the Alex. And what is the action? He is writing. And who is the receiver of the action? The essay on Alzheimer's. Now, if we talk about the passive voice, it will be, we are interested in knowing who has received the action. Our focus is on the receiver of the action. That is, the essay on Alzheimer's action was written by whom? The Alex. So here the receiver is important and not the doer. In the active voice, the doer is important and not the receiver. Next. Now, let's take more examples to understand active and passive voice. The active voice of a verb tells us that someone or something does the action in a sentence. As you can figure out from the first image, a boy is watering the flowers. So, James watered the flowers. Now, here we are interested in who is performing the action. So, Jem is performing the action. So, it is said that the sentence is in the active voice. Now, if we convert this active to the passive, where we are interested in what is being done. We are interested in the action which is being performed. So, we can write the flowers were watered by James. In these two sentences, just look, we have not changed the tense of the sentence. Watered is in the past tense and it is in the passive also. It is in the past tense. We have not changed the tense. So one thing, in the active, we are interested in knowing who is doing the action. And in the passive, we are interested in knowing who has received the action. The receiver of the action is important, and in the active, the doer of the action is important. Similar is the case with the second. Sahara finished the homework. Now, what action is being done? The homework has been finished, but by whom? By Sahara. And in the passive, we are interested in what has been done. What is the action? So, the homework was finished by Sarah. In the third, the puppy chewed the shoe. Now, who is doing? The puppy is doing the action. And in the passive, the shoe was chewed by the puppy. So, we can understand that in active, doer is important, and in the passive, action, who has received the action is important. We will not change the tense of the sentence. Moving on, same. Now we have to change the active to the passive. So what we'll do, we'll understand a simple structure that which is the subject in the active becomes the object of the passive. As we have seen in the 3 examples, the subject here, the subject is the Carol. Carol sold the house. Who is the doer? As we have said, doer, subject changes to the object of the passive, and the object of the active changes to the subject of the passive, because the object is receiver of the action, and in the passive we are interested in knowing who is the receiver of the action. So the house becomes the subject. We said we are not going to change the tense. Sold was sold. We have added an auxiliary and we have added by before the doer. So what's our rule? The object of the active becomes the subject, and the subject of the active becomes the object. So we have to think, and then the subject of the active, object of by. We have to add by before the object. Moving on. Next, to be forms plus the main verb. As we have seen in all the examples, the verbs, when we convert into the passive, they are in the verb 3 form, 3rd form. So if the sentence in the present, we will be adding for the passive is, am and are. If it is in the past, we'll use was and were. Future, be. For the continuous, being, and perfect, being. Change of the pronouns. For active, I. In the passive, it becomes me, because subject I becomes the object me. We, us, you doesn't change. They becomes them, as they is the subject, and in the passive it becomes the object. It changes to them. He, subject, object, him. She, her, it remains the same. Now we'll take some examples. We keep the butter here. Now when we change into the passive, our subject we will get converted to the object, and here what is the object will get converted to the subject, and the sentence is in the present tense. So the butter, which is the object, becomes the subject. It is in the present tense, so we are adding the auxiliary. The be form is keep becomes kept, V3 form, and here we can omit V here. Now the second example, they broke the window. The window was broken. Who is doer of the action? They. Here we can omit they, and broke past tense, so we have added was in the passive. Similar, the third, he is making kite. It is in the present continuous. So we have said for continuous we add being. He is making kites, so it will change. The kite becomes the subject. Kites are, because it is in the present tense, plural form, kites are being is kept converted to being. Making, V3 form, made by him. He is the subject, gets converted to object him. Somebody was cleaning the room when I arrived. Now, who is receiving the action? The room. The room was, as it is in the past tense, past continuous, being cleaned. Was cleaning, was being cleaned when I arrived. People have seen wolves in the street. This is perfect. So, wolves have been seen in the street. We have not changed the tense. It has remained in the same tense. That is the perfect tense. I had worn blue shoes. Blue shoes had been worn by me. So, thank you for listening. Do join us again.